Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Spider, and welcome back to another review. And there's a new Spider-Man movie in theaters, so it's time for another Spider review. And today we're taking a look at the Marvel Legends Vulture Build-A-Figures Spider-Man Homecoming Homemade Suit Spider-Man. Jeez, this thing's got a long name. This figure released back in 2017, and based on their appearance from Spider-Man Homecoming. So, to get this review started, we'll take a look at the packaging. So here we have the box. And up top here we got the Marvel Legends series, or just Legends series. You got Build-A-Figure in the corner there. You got a very reflective plastic bubble there. You got a little blue Spider-Man in the back there. You got Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man. On the side you got Spider-Man swinging. On the other side you got Spider-Man swinging also. On the back you got a little bio there if you want to pause and read that. You get a nice image of Spider-Man, and for some reason the spider symbol on the figure in this image is damaged. That's not how it looks on the toy, so I don't know why they think it would have picked a better artwork for the back here. But anyways, you got all the other figures you can get to build that big old Vulture. And the kind of confusing thing is that the box says that this released in 2016, but Google says it released in 2017, so I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, anyways, you got the bottom with a bunch of words, and then you got the top with a spider symbol, and that's pretty much it for that. On to the figure. And here we have the homemade suit Spider-Man. And I gotta say, out of all the movie interpretations of the homemade suit, I think this one might be my favorite. You know, even though I do have a lot of nostalgia for the Sam Raimi version, because that's the one I grew up with, I don't know, this one just looks pretty cool. Anywho, to get things started, we'll take a look at its articulation. So the head is on a ball joint hinge, which allows it to look a pretty dang good amount up and a pretty dang good amount down. So yeah, lots of movement there. You get a little bit of tilts in side to side. Obviously, you can look all the way around if you so wish. So yeah, he's got some pretty good movement in the head there, I must say. The arms, can go that far up, and I do recommend that you grab it at the base here instead of grabbing it further down the arm, because it's just connected by a peg, and it's just, I don't know, I'm a little worried because of how stiff the joint is that it might break the peg. I don't know, I mean, I haven't heard of anything like that happening, but just be cautious. Anyway, the arm can also go all the way around, bicep swivel, a double jointed bend at the elbow, yes please and thank you. You get a rotation at the wrist, you can get a little bit down and a little bit up. So nice movement in the arms. You do actually get an ab crunch and arch, which is always a nice addition. You do get a waist swivel, but it's kind of weird. It's almost got kind of like a, it's got like a springiness to it. It's very strange. I don't know why on earth they would design it to be like that. I don't get it. What was the point of that? That's weird. Anyways, moving on to the legs. It can kick pretty good amount forward. Not really that much back because of the butt sculpt. Can only do a split that far, which is a little disappointing. You do get a thigh rotation, a double jointed knee, once again, yes please and thank you, and a calf swivel, because reasons. Yeah, not a big fan of calf swivels. Do not like them, especially on this figure, because they got really loose, and so trying to pose the figure and its leg will just get all out of whack, and don't like it. The foot can go that far down, can go a little bit up, and you do get very nice ankle tilt. So that is it for the articulation, and for the most part, I think it is pretty dang good. The only parts of it that I really wish would have been improved are in the hips and the ankles, because you can't really get him into a good squat pose. And it's like, it's Spider-Man. The dude's squatting all the dang time, so I'd like a figure that could also squat, but this one has some trouble getting into some of those poses. So yeah, I do wish the hips and ankles were, they had a bit more range, but with what you get, it's still pretty good. And double jointed elbows and knees are fantastic. I'm very appreciative that they did that. Because the last several Marvel figures I reviewed only had single jointed, and yeah, you couldn't get great bends out of them. But anywho, now that we're done with articulation, we can move on to the details. And to start, I want to say the figure, or the design that is, kind of looks like the Scarlet Spider, but with inverse colors. You know, especially with the sleeveless sweatshirt look going on. Like, he really does look like Scarlet Spider, but just the colors are reversed. I imagine that was probably the look they were going for, like the main inspiration for this design. Maybe? If not, that's a dang big coincidence. Anywho, I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was kind of neat. But now that we're done with that, I can bring it up and zoom on in and take a look at the finer details of the figure and bring it up a little bit more. You can see you got the head here, and this might sound a little bit weird, but I feel like they really nailed Tom Holland's head shape, if that makes any sense. Like, this doesn't look like your typical Marvel Legends Spider-Man head sculpt. It looks like they tried to get his head shape. That probably sounds really weird, but like, I don't know, it feels like it looks like him, you know. It doesn't look like your average Spider-Man. But anyways, you got the goggles, which aren't 100% accurate to how they looked in the film. They're a little different, but I imagine you can chalk that up to this being based off of concept art, and maybe that's why they're a little off. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You got some nice, like, wrinkles sculpted into it, which that looks very, very cool. You do get the hood of the sweatshirt, which is a separate piece, is separate from the body, and it's kind of loose, which is kind of annoying. Like, if you have him just standing in a simple pose, it's not a problem, but if you have him, like, hanging upside down, it kind of just flops around a bit, and I do wish there was, like, maybe like a little peg that would plug into his back or something like that to keep it in place. I do wish that was implemented, but whatever. You do get a nice spider symbol. You got a little zipper going all the way down. You even got little pockets molded into it. It's pretty neat. You get the blue, the arm. You get a little web shooter. You get the gloves. And something they actually did miss with the gloves is actually web designs on them in the film. So yeah, they kind of missed that detail, but to be fair, until I started doing research for this review, I didn't notice they had that either. So it's forgivable that they missed that. You got black on the inside. He has got fingerless gloves, so they got all the, flesh bits of his fingers painted. They even got like some like the fingernails kind of picked out a little bit. So that's neat. Although I do got to say, for someone who's trying to keep their secret identity a secret, fingerless gloves, really dumb decision. I don't know why they went with that, but to be fair, that's more of a criticism of the design in the movie, not the figure, because the figure is just representing what we saw in the film. So, not really criticizing the figure, more so the designers of the movie. Like, why would he wear fingerless gloves when he's trying to keep his secret identity? Especially Spider-Man, the person who climbs all over the place. His fingerprints would be everywhere. Such a dumb move, but whatever. You get sweatpants with two little strings, whatever those things would be called. Get the legs. And there's some paint defects on it for some reason. I don't know what the heck happened, but it's like red paint sprinkled on it. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So that's weird. Then you get shins, you get the nice boots, and you get the nice black trim around the boots. That's pretty cool. You get some pegals and some brand stamps. You get the back of the figure. It's pretty simple. Not much going on there, just more wrinkles sculpted in, which all look quite nice. And overall, the figure looks nice. You know, there are some slight inaccuracies from the movie, but like I said, it could just be chalked up to it being based off of concept art. So some of those other details may have not been fully finalized by the time this figure went into production. You never know. Yeah. Also, the colors of it are pretty decent. I feel like the blue is fine, but I don't know, the red, I feel like they could have picked a more... camera, can you focus? Camera, please? Maybe? I don't know. I feel like they could have picked a more vibrant red color. This one's kind of a dull, darker red, and I feel like that's not what it looked like in the film. But whatever. He still looks fine. So zoom out here. So yeah, now that we're pretty much talked about all the stuff of the figure, that didn't make any sense. We talked about the figure, now we can move on to the figure's accessories. That's a better segue. There we go. Now while the figure is packaged with one web shooting hand and one fist, you do actually get doubles of each. So yeah, you get another web shooting hand and another fist. So if you wanted both web shooting hands or both fists, you can do that. And unfortunately, there are no there are no wall crawling hands. This was before that kind of became the standard, so it is a little unfortunate. Also, the hands are not... they're not super difficult to replace. You know, just kind of plug... Actually, it was a lot easier to plug it in than it was to unplug it. Yeah, so they're not too difficult to replace. You know, a little stiff. I imagine it'll get easier the more you do it. And you also get a folded up hood, which is very nice. I mean, I don't think he ever folded up his hood in the movie, but I appreciate that they included that. And that is also not too difficult to do. And to get the hood on, I do recommend you put the head in the hood first. Trust me, it'll make things quite a bit easier. And then you just... there you go. Just plug that on in there. And there we are. You got Spider-Man with his hood up, which looks fine. I don't know. I don't think it's maybe the shape of the hood, but I think this could have looked a little bit better, because I do actually like Spider-Man with his hood up. I like that look whenever they do that, but this doesn't look as cool as it could, so I don't know. Maybe something about the hood shape could be changed. I'm not sure what could be done, but it doesn't look as cool as it could, and I'm not 100% sure why. But yeah, also, both hoods are made out of like a softer plastic material, so they're kind of squishy. So, yeah. You got that look. Very nice, it's included. And if you're wondering, this is what he looks like with no hood at all. And honestly, that's not really that bad of a look. Sometimes it'll look awkward because like the neck will be like too long or something. This doesn't look too bad. Anywho, that's pretty much all the accessories. Oh, actually, wait, there is one more accessory. There's the Vulture wing part that I actually don't have anymore. I gave it to a friend because they had more pieces than I did, so it was like, hey, you can complete yours or whatever. But here's a picture of what it looked like. Alright, now we're pretty much done, and we can move on to the size comparisons. So, to start things off, as always, here it is with a LEGO minifigure, with the Pack of Destruction minifigure Mothra, and the Pack of Destruction minifigure Godzilla. On to some more relevant size comparisons. Here it is with the Spider-Man 3 Black Suit Spider-Man, with the Iron Man 2008 prototype snap-on armor. With the previous Marvel Legends figure I reviewed, the Walgreens exclusive Mystique. And then finally, here it is with the previous review, the Marvel Select Avengers Hulk, which, yeah, I don't think that's quite right, but still looks cool nonetheless. Now that we're done with all that, it's measuring time. So we'll get this measuring tape up and going. You can see the figure is actually slightly under 6 inches tall, which I think that might be accurate to Tom Holland's real height, because I'm pretty sure he's not 6 foot tall. So yeah, it's in scale, which is nice. So that's pretty much it for the Marvel Legends homemade suit Spider-Man, and overall he's a pretty good figure. He does have some things that hold him back. For me, mainly the articulation and the legs not being as extensive as I would have preferred. Because I mean, like, if you're gonna have one figure that's going to be more articulated than others, Spider-Man is definitely going to be the one to pick, because he's usually known for getting some pretty wacky poses, and you want to represent that in the figure. So that does kind of hold him back a bit, but he's still a fun figure, and I do like this look. And if you wanted this figure for yourself on eBay, it's going for around $30 out of the box and $50 to $80 brand new in the box, which is way too expensive. This figure is not at all worth that price. Yeah, it's the unfortunate thing of certain figures just getting more expensive as days go by. I don't know why this one in particular does, but whatever. But if you can find one with all the accessories for around $30, yeah, I'd say he's worth it, especially if you really like this design. But hey, it's your money, spend it however you wish. And that's pretty much all I've got to say for this review, so hope you all enjoyed. See you all later. Sayonara. Bye.